Yo, what's up, doggies? It's your boy Beanie, and in today's video, I'd like to look into the reason of why does everyone hate the Jews?
I see good things about Hitler also.
And before you click off of this video, because you see my hat, you see I'm Jewish, and you're thinking, oh, just another Jewish guy trying to spin the narrative, try to trick us, make us believe whatever. I promise that's not what this video is going to be like. I will be taking a look at both sides of the argument. I'm going to be showing stuff that will probably get this video like shadow banned or demonetized, and I'll let you as a viewer decide, what you want to believe. So to start this video off, let's take a little trip back in time and let's look at the history of anti-Semitism.
We're taking down the Zog machine, Jew by Jew by Jew. The white man marches on.
As soon as Judaism began, there was already anti-Semitism, but this is pretty typical for any new religion that's going against what the common belief is at the time. And at the time, in the Roman Empire where Judaism originated, people mostly believed in multiple gods, like a sun god, a rain god, and basically just like God for anything that existed on earth. The Jewish people were one of the first religions to believe in one singular god, and this idea was a bit controversial at the time. People kind of just saw them as crazy, but a big step to solidify, their belief was a guy known as Jesus.
Our demons are trembling, holy angels defending. In the Father we put our faith.
Jesus was preaching the idea of the one same singular God that the Jews were talking about. However, Jesus also claimed to be the Son of God, so, this is kind of where the Jews, they didn't really fuck with Jesus. They kind of disavowed him. They thought he was a false prophet, and they didn't really like the guy. But, however, even if they didn't like him, he was still spreading the same message, basically. And even after Jesus' death, people, his followers would spread his message, people like Paul and others, and after his death, this is basically when Christianity came around and the Jewish religion, kind of spread it away from it. The Jewish people kind of saw Christianity as some knockoff DLC as their original religion, and the Christian people saw the Jews as stubborn and just ignorant, and they didn't believe in the real true God. And also a very important aspect of, anti-Semitism and why the Jews and the Christians disagreed is many people believe that the Jews were the ones who actually killed Jesus or were responsible for it, but we're going to take a deeper look into this later. So the Christians believe Jesus was the Son of God because, he was turning water into wine, walking on water, and, doing all this hoopla. And the Jews, they just thought he was a false prophet and did not believe in this. And after this, the Christians would far surpass the Jews, and all the common civilizations at this time were ran by Christians, and the Christians believed that the Jews killed Jesus, so they didn't really like the Jews. By the Middle Ages, Jews were denied citizenship, weren't allowed to marry Christians, and weren't allowed to hold positions of power in government. That one did not last. And some Christians at this time believed that Jews were in league with the devil, reenacting the murder of Jesus by killing Christians, drinking baby blood, and just doing a lot of crazy stuff. And it's from this point forward that basically anything negative going on in the world was blamed on the Jews. The Black Plague was commonly thought to be the Jews doing. They thought that they were poisoning the wells and spreading disease, and hundreds of thousands of Jews were actually burned because of this. I'm sure you guys know the whole deal with the Holocaust. Hitler, his reason was a little bit different, and it's kind of hard to find the true reason of why he didn't like the Jews, but he didn't like them. And well, basically, all this Jewish hate really stems from the fact that they allegedly killed Jesus, so let's take a deeper look into that. Now, when you look it up, most of the sources all kind of deny the fact that the Jews killed Jesus. You can find evidence that the recent Pope actually denies it and all this stuff, but understandably, a lot of people are going to say this is just dumb because the Jews, they run the media and you can't really trust what the basic internet says. But when you look into the Bible, they do in fact say that the Jews are responsible for killing Jesus. Now, there are many different versions of the Bible and verses, but some examples that, say that the Jews are responsible are, for example, in Thessalonians 2:15, they say, "The same Jews who killed the Lord Jesus and the prophets, and they forced us to leave the country. They are not pleasing to God, and they are against everyone else in this book." Also in Matthew 27:24-25, they say, "Jews as a people are collectively responsible for the killing of Jesus, even through the successful generations following his death." It's believed at the time that the Jews snitched on Jesus to the Roman authorities for blasphemy and thus getting him killed. And while the Jews today, obviously dispute this claim, saying they didn't really have a problem with Jesus at the time and they were not responsible for his death, but to be honest, I can definitely see the Christian perspective. I feel like the Jews definitely did have a problem with the guy. They literally disagreed with what he was preaching, and They definitely didn't fuck with him. Like, it does make a bit of sense. And, as a Jew myself, I would like to, formally apologize for, killing Jesus. In our defense, bro, like, we thought he was a false prophet. And to be fair, he ended up coming back later anyway. So, like, my bad, Jokes aside, though, I mean, whether or not the Jews did or didn't kill Jesus, I mean, it really can't be known for sure. It all just depends on what religion you decide to believe, because obviously the Jews deny it and the Christians think that they did it. So, I mean, I don't know. Who knows if they killed Jesus, but a lot of people certainly believe that they did. And yeah, ever since this happened, the Jews have, they've been blamed for every single problem that's going on, and that's still going on today. Today, many people believe that the Jews run the world. So, let's take a look into that. The Jews make up 2.4% of the US, and they're in quite a lot of positions of power, and because of this, they're thought to be behind the slave trade, gun control, abortion, Satanism, porn and hookup culture, and just basically anything negative, as I said before. And well, if you stop to take a look at these pictures I'm putting on the screen, I'm not gonna lie, it is a pretty bad look for the Jews, but there's a big difference between, Jews being in a lot of positions of power, which is definitely true, and then also believing that the Jews are all conspiring to make the world a worse place, conspiring to get rid of the white race, and conspiring for, degeneracy, and just all this crazy stuff. But I mean, if you just take a step back from this crazy conspiracy, like, what do the Jews realistically have to gain by promoting all this negative stuff? And I know people are going to say, oh, they're going to create a worse society for us so they have more power, but to think that they're all conspiring in one group to, like, just have all this terrible stuff happen to us, make us dumber so they can have more power, and every single one of these Jewish people are all in on it, and not a single person maybe, like, changes their mind and exposes it or anything like that. Like, don't you think it's a little bit more realistic that maybe, these Jews in powers actually just have their own ideas, and maybe some of them are just liberal, and, like, they believe in these liberal policies, and the whole thing about the Jewish people, like, starting porn and hookup culture, porn was going to start regardless if it was for a Jew or not a Jew. Like, sex sells and people like money, Jews like money, everyone likes money. Like, it just so happens that a Jew ended up, creating Pornhub or whatever. Like, I don't think it's really fair to blame porn on Jewish people. And I know people are still going to ask, well, then why do they run 96% of the media? Why are they still in all these positions of power? And while the Jews are in a lot of positions of power in the media and many other places, I don't think that means that they completely run the media. There's a bunch of other people that are in positions of power in the media, and on top of that, the reason that liberal ideas are so plentiful in the media right now is because most of society is liberal, or most of the young people are liberal, and people want to sell what people want to hear, and they're going to promote these ideas because people like to hear them. And well, in my opinion, the reason why Jews are in so many positions of power is because they were discriminated against all throughout history, and because of this forced them to adapt, all the struggles they had to go through. They had to become hardworking, they embraced family, and they embraced followers of their religion. For example, in the Middle Ages, when they were denied citizenship and positions of power, and basically everything they needed to do to, like, live a good life, they had to find another way to make money and gain power, because they had no power at the time, and what they did is they embraced trade, banking, and money lending, and that's why people say, oh, Jews are money hungry or they're greedy or whatever, but I mean, they had no other option at the time. They literally had no power, so they had to create their own power. Basically, anything that didn't kill them only made them stronger. Like, the Jews, they're just smart people. They're hardworking, and I don't know, they're just successful. Like, I don't know, stay mad, bro. Like, what do you want me to do? Be a fucking bum? You want us all to die? Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Now, after watching this video, if you still want to believe that the Jews are running the world, trying to get rid of white people, promoting pedophilia and degeneracy, like, I can kind of understand it because, we are in these positions of power, and it's just like, oh, that it must be them, but I don't think it's correct. And also, I mean, this might be kind of, whatever, but most people that believe these ideas, and, I don't want to just hate on everyone, but they do tend to be, like, kind of stupid. Just, like, look at your average anti-Semitic person. It's not really, like, the high intelligent people with a lot of money and a lot of power. It's the people with not a lot of money, no power, and they just want something to be mad at. And honestly, I just think people use Jews as a scapegoat for all their problems. And well, I'm sure anyone who already believes these ideas, I didn't change your mind with this video. But I will say, as a Jewish person myself who went to temple, we never learned about killing Jesus or drinking blood or doing any of this crazy stuff that a lot of people say that the Jewish people believe. And on top of that, I'm not in any Jewish group chats helping me get power or money. Like, I'm literally broke, and I might end up being a fucking loser. So, I don't have any Jewish advantages or anything like that. And well, obviously, I don't have all the answers, and I don't know what's true. Looking at history, who knows what's true? Who knows if we killed Jesus? Who knows if, like, it's written by the victors, no one really knows for sure. And, if you guys disagree with me, let me know in the comments. I would honestly really like to know. I mean, I know this is a heated topic. I know some of y'all might be mad about this, or some of y'all might be like, yeah, right on. I don't know. Just let me know in the comments. I don't really care. I'm just trying to get some views, my dog, and you know what I'm saying. Also, I just find this topic pretty interesting. So, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe, and peace out, dog.